What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel, and we are the Fan, upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Fantastic to have you guys with us. Here's how you can take part in the show. You can give us a ring at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-326-3663. And the text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. Here is what's coming up on the show today. Admit it, we're all a little cray. More on that coming up. We've got a Beamer versus Dabo comparison. You're going to have to hear to believe. Michigan versus Washington. If the upset is to happen, here's how it's going to happen. Brent Beard, Heisman Trophy voter, joins us on the show. Dave Tepper and how he's going to botch the Carolina Panthers coaching search. Who do you pick to play in next year's national championship game? We've got the top 5 at 5. We've got wise guys, wisdom, and we have you here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere, on YouTube as well. You can open the YouTube app on your phone or your TV. Just bring it up. Look up the Fan Upstate. You'll see a live tab, and the lovely locks of Diesel and I will be right there. You guys can, of course, give us a call at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-326-3663. And the text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show. All right, my friends, let us open with this. You know, look, guys, I saw Chris Phillips, Diesel, gave the Gamecocks a D for their 2023 season efforts. You and I gave South Carolina an F. That is a compliment to give you an F instead of a D. Why? Because you want to have expectations. If missing a bowl game is not an abomination, and there's only one grade that is an abomination, that's an F, then I'm not sure what we're doing here. That I'm not sure your expectations are in the right place. So Chris Phillips gave the Gamecocks a D. I gave them an F. Diesel gave them an F. Many of you who have the expectations in the right place also gave the Gamecocks an F, which you should get if you miss a bowl game, right? That should be the case. And, you know, when you consider what Beamer has done now through year 3, 7-6 in year 1, 8-5 in year 2, 5-7 in year 3. You know, the thing that Gamecock fans, they keep moving the goalposts, right? If you're a Gamecock fan, please don't do that. Don't move the goalpost on us here, because it used to be, well, if you were critical of something Beamer did, well, what was Dabo Sweeney through the first 2 or 3 years? What was he? What was his record at this time? Now that Beamer's entering year 4, the goalpost has flipped to Steve Spurrier. Well, look at Steve Spurrier. Didn't click until year 6. Yeah, brother, this is a different era. You don't get year 6 anymore. You don't. After Spurrier, it'll be Frank Beamer. And after Frank Beamer, it'll be some other dude that I don't yet know who it is that for some reason clicked in like year 11. Right? Hey, he clicked in year 11. And the reason you're doing that is because you like Shane Beamer. Shane Beamer's your boy. He's your guy. He sticks up for the Gamecocks, and he's quick to bite the heads off of anybody who challenges them. He chooses you. He's loyal to you, right? Yeah,
he's just like you.
Well, he might be just like you. That's right, Diesel. What was your New Year's resolution for the Gamecocks yesterday, Diesel? Do you remember?
My resolution for the Gamecocks, you asked me that. Give me just a second. I'll think of it.
Yeah, it was something along the lines of, like, you know, having Beamer learn how to behave.
Oh, that's what it was. There needs to be actionable guardrails on his behavior.
actionable guardrails on his behavior, right? But the reality is, look, you guys have found a guy that you like. He's done just enough, won just enough bigger games to keep you hopeful. And you want to see that guy be successful. He's your guy. He chose you. Didn't go back to Virginia Tech. There was a rumor Oklahoma was interested in him. Didn't go back there, right? Chose you. You choose him. You guys want to be happily married together forever. So let us do this, my friends, because it is now the end of year 3 for Shane Beamer. If we compare Shane Beamer to Dabo Swinney through year 3, what I am going to do is I'm going to count in this little ditty the interim year for Dabo Swinney, because that's all we have to go by right now. And the interim year was at least the majority of the season, 7 games out of 11 or 12 Dabo coached. All right? 7 games out of 11 or 12. And this is the first comparison that Gamecock fans went to the last couple of years. Anytime you were critical about anything, they said, hey, what about Dabo his first 3 years? Well, Dabo was 1 game above 500 through his first year, 4-3 in the interim year. Shane Beamer, 1 game above 500 his first year, 7-6. Dabo Swinney, year 2, record of 9-5. Shane Beamer, year 2, record of 8-5. You see the comparison here? You're not going to believe how much these line up. Year 3, Dabo Swinney takes a step back. What's the record? 6-7. This is when he's sure he is going to be fired. He wasn't. He came back despite the step back to 6-7. They made a bowl game. They lost the Meineke Car Care Bowl. Their car after that game had been unserviced for years.
Can Clemson fans fathom right now losing the Car Care Bowl, even being in the Car Care Bowl?
No.
Like, it would be a disastrous situation, a disastrous season to be in the Car Care Bowl, let alone lose it.
Can we take a little detour for 2 minutes, Diesel? What is the this is a segment you'll only get right here. What is the worst sounding bowl game of this year? Okay.
I think it's the famous Potatoes Idaho Bowl.
The Pop-Tarts Bowl suddenly has a cool vibe attached
to
it.
You got the trophy, which is an edible Pop-Tart. They had that situation where the guy in the Pop-Tart costume goes down into this giant toaster, and then out it spits a similarly sized edible Pop-Tart. The trophy itself was a football with slots in it to put Pop-Tarts. I don't know if it's a functioning toaster, but like, imagine how cool that would be if the trophy itself was a functioning toaster. That would be that would be incredible. I don't think that it is, but that would be awesome. For me, I think it's the Idaho Potato Bowl, because you're going out there, you're playing on an ugly field. It's the Potato Bowl. You feel like you're playing in a Group of 5 stadium. If you're a Power 5 team, it feels like kind of a slap in the face. Not that many of your fans can travel all the way out there. I think that's one.
Well, Diesel, how they give you that grab bag of gifts for bowl games, and they say it can be up to $500 in value.
Yep.
Like, if you went to the Myrtle Beach Bowl, okay? Like, if you went to the Myrtle Beach Bowl, what do you get? You get a bag of the most chintzy, touristy beach items that you could possibly find.
Hermit crabs and airbrush t-shirts, baby.
Maybe you get your picture on the beach with the dance team, okay, of Coastal Carolina. You've got the Myrtle Beach Bowl. I mean, you get a bag full of what's it called? I think the store is called Wings or something. But it's
there's Wings, there's Waves, there's 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, but it's just the cheapest, crappiest beach souvenirs.
Get some leftover Confederate flag boogie boards.
You've got the Cricket Celebration Bowl, which is a summary of our show every day, Diesel. It's crickets. That's how we do what we do every single day here. We have the R&L Carriers New Orleans Bowl. I don't even know what R&L Carriers is.
I think it's a trucking company.
Okay. You have the Avocados from Mexico Cure Bowl. Why haven't they after what the Duke's Mayo Bowl does,
Yeah.
why don't you you throw the ball, the clown falls into a tub of guacamole.
Yeah.
Like that's what they should do. You should fall into it. You have the Isleta New Mexico Bowl, no idea. You have the Starco Brands LA Bowl. I'm looking for the one that has the worst sounding name. Okay. The Radiance Technologies Independence Bowl. Okay, Diesel, this has got to be it. The famous Toastery Bowl. Come on. The hell is that? You know what that is? That's an individual restaurant.
Yeah.
That's the Scooters. The Scooters Coffee Frisco Bowl?
Yeah.
What the hell is this?
The actual names of the bowls don't sound so bad. It's when you add on sponsors that no one's ever heard of. That's when these things start to sound really bad, really cheap. It's awful.
Roofclaim.com Boca Raton Bowl, Union Home Mortgage Gasparilla Bowl, 76 Birmingham Bowl, Camellia Bowl. That's not too bad. Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl, not bad. Famous Idaho Potato Bowl. Is that the worst? How about the 68 Ventures Bowl? They couldn't get to 69? They couldn't get to 69, Diesel. SRS Distribution Las Vegas Bowl, the Easy Post Hawaii Bowl, the Serve Pro, here it is, Diesel. This is mine. Serve Pro First Responder Bowl. That's the worst sounding. That's the worst.
The disaster cleanup first responder bowl.
And if you are a player playing in that game, they give you a free life alert. You get a life alert. So when you fall and
you get a shop vac and a life alert. This is I think that there is something to be said. Not that it's a major part of it, but I think it is some part of it. That the sponsorships that seemingly have no relation whatsoever to the city that they're being played in or to the traditional name of the bowl, I think how ridiculous it sounds has a little something to do with people saying that bowl games don't matter.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like these sound dumb. A trucking company doing the New Orleans Bowl. What does a trucking company have to do with the New Orleans Bowl? I don't know. It just does. They threw down the money. They don't make any sense. If it's the Visit Myrtle Beach Bowl, that would make sense because you want tourists to come to Myrtle Beach in December. That would make sense.
Diesel, I remember a team, the Denver Nuggets, used to have the voted worst uniforms in the NBA. And they painted like a city on the uniform, the city of Denver, but it looked like Rubik's Cube blocks. Like the city looked like, and a Denver Nuggets player said, it's hard to play good when you look so bad, right? That's like he actually said that. I would say it's hard to give a damn when the name sounds so bad, right?
Yeah. Guys on other teams are going to be like, you're going to the Scrubbing Bubbles toilet bowl.
Yeah. Crusted over cornflakes.
Why do I want to like it? It sounds embarrassing to play in these games.
Tell me you didn't enjoy Rutgers beating Miami. Like I said, Diesel, I said, what is the Hollywood equivalent of Rutgers beating Miami? And the best that I came up with was Billy Bob Thornton dating Angelina Jolie.
I saw P1 listener of our show and former Odyssey Greenville employee Zach Brown at Costco last weekend.
Oh,
and I didn't recognize it. Why? You're in this place where there's all kinds of activity buzzing around you all the time. You're not really looking at other people. You're just kind of like trudging along, trying to get to where you need to go.
This isn't Zach Brown Band, is it?
No.
Okay.
Zach Brown, he's the Miami Hurricane listener. He calls in occasionally.
Yeah, gotcha.
And I just hear out of the ether, App State sucks. So I look over and I'm like, I'm not even wearing anything App State. It's like, is it a Georgia Southern fan? Do I need to fight somebody? And it's Zach Brown. And I'm just like, dude, Rutgers, what the hell happened?
Yeah.
You got beat by Rutgers. He's like, I don't know. I was like, dude, your team got their ass kicked by Rutgers. And you're talking trash in public.
South Beach lost to Piscataway, New Jersey.
To the Jersey Shore.
Where is Rutgers? It's Piscataway. I mean, they lost to them, Diesel. This might be the worst sounding bowl, and Miami lost it. The Bad Boy Mowers Pinstripe Bowl. That might be the worst one.
Now, Bad Boy Mowers are pretty awesome themselves.
No,
yeah. They're like the really kick-ass, like riding lawnmowers. They're fun.
Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Come on, man.
Yeah.
Come on. Come on. These are not fun sounding anymore. These are not great anymore. Can we please stop it? Barstool Sports has a bowl game. That bowl game was actually pretty good. So anyway, all of this brings us back. Thank you for willingly going on that detour with us that served no purpose other than to allow Diesel and I to cry at our beer over what's happened to bowl games even more.
You ever realize that Piscataway has the word scat in it? And you know what scat is?
Animal
It's a
dung.
nice way of saying animal dung. It's got animal dung in the name of the town.
There you go.
No one has ever thought to change it.
Well, maybe because they thought that was a description of the town, Diesel. Maybe that's why, right? Piscataway. Up next.
It sounds like a 3-year-old trying to say spaghetti and you just can't get it right. Spaghetti.
Remember, Jackson pronounces Michigan, mission again. Let's go to mission again. Mission again. All right, guys, we will conclude this comparison. Year 3 Dabo Beamer. Always a fun time with you on a Friday, right here, the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Fantastic to have you guys with us. Keith in Traveler's Rest says, so glad y'all are back for the new year. Keith in Traveler's Rest, it's great to be here with you, buddy. Happy New Year to you and yours. Hope it's the best one of your life, man. Really do. Texter wants to know, is Beamer regressing? Texter says the worst bowl by name is the R&L Carrier Bowl. Yes, the R&L Carriers is a great company, but it's a terrible bowl. Texter says we need a cereal bowl, a Chile bowl. A toilet bowl for the worst 2 teams would be awesome as well. Minnesota belonged in the toilet bowl. They got in with a 5-7 record. And then we had to go through the disgrace of them winning the game with a 5-7 record. Like how much of an embarrassment is that?
Yeah, well, when there's not enough 6-6 or better teams, they start going, they start dipping into the dregs of teams that were below 500, and they go by highest combined GPA.
Yeah,
that's how they do it. So it's still an embarrassment to even get in, and it's proof that we need to stop sponsoring more and more bowl games. We got to stop sponsoring so many bowl games. And my idea, we talked about it in the break, Mark, is just to flip the order of the names. These seemingly completely disconnected sponsors that most people have never even heard of should not get priority billing in the name of the bowl, right? Like you were reading off all of these sponsors for these bowls. Half of them I'd never even heard of. And we work in media. It's like our job to know who these, but the common person isn't going to know Bad Boy Mowers. They know John Deere. They know, the big brands, or they don't know what R&L Carriers is, or they don't know what there was the Las Vegas Bowl, I think you said, was sponsored by, it sounded like another trucking company was my guess. But stop putting the names of companies people don't know first in the name of a bowl game. If you want to say the New Orleans Bowl, people say, oh, the New Orleans Bowl. I've been to New Orleans. That's fun. New Orleans, yeah.
But you also highlighted why they don't do that.
They won't do it because the sponsors are paying to have their name mentioned over and over and over and over again.
And they'll get more money if there's more tie-in for the company in the bowl game. And if the name of the bowl goes first, we're never going to say the company's name.
Yeah.
Right? Diesel, the reality is we don't say it anyway. No one said the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl.
So
we said the Gator Bowl. Right?
Yeah.
We say the Peach Bowl. We don't say the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. No offense.
Right.
Chick-fil-A is great. We just say the Peach Bowl. We say it anyway. It's not working. So just put the bowl game first. Texter says it used to be the Hawaiian Airlines Hawaii Bowl. That was played at Old Aloha Stadium. Now the Hawaii Bowl is played at a different stadium. What about the Duke's Mayo Bowl? Getting that tub of watered down mayo dumped on you is so incredibly nasty. So we got off on a tangent surrounding a comparison we were making between Dabo and Beamer. And here is the data, my friends, through 3 years. All right. And what is the conclusion from this data? We'll tell you in a minute. Through 3 years, Dabo at Clemson had a record of 19 wins and 15 losses. That's a winning percentage of .559. Through 3 years, Shane Beamer is 20-18. That's a winning percentage of .526. Okay, winning percentage of .526. So Dabo's a little bit better. Now, here's the problem for Shane. Year 4 is when Dabo really popped. It's when he really popped. 10-4 was, the start of the Clemson run that we're either still in or we're just leaving. Okay, I can't tell whether we're still in the Clemson run or whether we're just leaving. I hope, for the case of the upstate in our show, that we're still in the middle of the Clemson run, but we could be just leaving it, right? Dabo 10-4 in year 4. So after year 4, the record was 29-19. That is a winning percentage of .604. For Beamer to be where Dabo is at the end of next year, he needs to be 11-2 this year. And that is not good news for Shane Beamer, because he's got one more win than Dabo through 3 years, because Dabo's first year was an interim 7-game campaign. So Beamer's got one more win, but he's got 3 more losses. And so Beamer would have to go 11-2 this year to slightly exceed what Dabo did through 3 years at Clemson. And so moral of the story is, look, everything is in front of you. You can achieve it. I would say it would be unlikely, to say the least. And you got a shot to do it this year. But this is really the year where the wheat separates from the chaff. Did I get it right, Diesel? Yes!
Yeah.
I got it right for the first time.
The line, I still love the line from Dodgeball, because it's time to separate the wheat from the chaff, the men from the boys, and the awkwardly feminine from the possibly Canadian. It's Dodgeball.
Yeah, it is Dodgeball.
Yeah.
So what do you guys make of that? Year 3 for Dabo, 19-15. Year 3 for Beamer, 20-18. A .559 winning percentage to a .526 winning percentage. And then Dabo takes off. Do you guys believe that Beamer is now in position to take off in year 4? Remember, all of us have said, boy, sure does look like South Carolina's got their Dabo. We've said that at some point or another. There are a lot of similarities in terms of character traits. Even Beamer and Dabo themselves acknowledge that. What are the similarities in their character traits? They're fiercely loyal. They love their kids. In their programs, it's about culture and family. They are known to pop off at critics from time to time. Dabo at Tyler from Spartanburg. Beamer at some idiot named MARC RYAN. They're known to pop off at critics of their program from time to time. Thank you, Diesel, for not using that last phrase by me as a drop. I appreciate that. That's very, very, very nice of you. I appreciate that. But guys, that is the comparison. What do you make of it? Is Beamer poised to jump this year? Is he poised to do it? I sit here before you right now, and I'm not even sure if Gamecock fans believe that Beamer is poised to make a jump this year. We still have Gamecock fans that say nonsense like 6-6 would be a success this year. Brother, you got 4 wins baked in. 4 wins baked in. So you only got to win 2 real games to make a bowl game this year. Give me a break. You can achieve that, right? Certainly you can achieve that. So there you go. Like it's interesting. If you want to say through 2 years, Beamer through 2 years was 15-11 through 2 years, right? Dabo through 2 years was 13-8. So they've been close. They're close after 3 years. Dabo had a breakout year in year 2. Beamer had a breakout year in year 2. Dabo took a step back in year 3, 6-7. Beamer took a step back in year 3, 5-7. I don't believe in coincidences, folks. There's a reason for that, right? There's a reason Dabo took a step back before launching forward. And gosh, would you believe, Diesel, that this season was Dabo's first sub-10-win season since 2010? 2011, 10 wins. 2012, 11 wins. Then 11 wins, 10 wins, 14 wins, 14 wins, 12 wins, 15 wins, 14 wins, 10 wins, 10 wins, 11 wins, 9 wins.
I don't remember who it was. It was a national pundit. Might have been Josh Pate. I don't remember exactly. But they said, can we stop talking about 10 wins like it's some massive feat? You know, when you got a lot of teams playing 15 games a year, 13 games if you're talking about a regular season and a bowl game, 14 games if you're talking about a regular season, a conference championship, and a bowl games. 10 wins isn't that really that big of a deal anymore, right? It's not this gargantuan accomplishment to win 10 games anymore. I understand that winning double-digit games feels nice, and it is something worth celebrating, but we take the concept in quotation marks, in parentheses, 10-win season, and we put it on some pedestal like it means something. It really doesn't.
And, you know, Diesel, in the Will Shipley discussion that we were having yesterday, that some Clemson fans got very defensive about when we said Shipley has been a little bit of the career was a bit of a disappointment at Clemson. They threw out 19 wins the last 2 years. I mean, like, that sounds great if it's all apples to apples, but you know as well as I do, okay, that that team wouldn't have won 19 games the last 2 years in the SEC. So please spare me. Like, when you're a Clemson fan and you throw out win totals, the only thing that does to me is highlight how bad the All Cupcakes Conference is. That's it. That's all it does. You don't further your argument by hitting me with 19 wins over the last 2 years. Over whom? Right? Over whom? You know, I saw in the last 6 weeks of my life, I saw South Carolina beat Kentucky more easily than Clemson beat Kentucky. Okay? I also saw Clemson beat South Carolina, but I didn't see this gap that you guys want me to see in terms of common opponents. Let's see here. Texter says, worst bowl is we don't make a bowl game. It's where losers meet to chat about being losers. Sounds like a fun place, Texter.
JD on YouTube says, bleeping Chuck Norris. Thank you. Let's see. Spur Daddy says, we should have the Old Spice Armpit Bowl hosted at Willie B. Since they call Columbia. This is Spur Daddy, okay? Ooh. This is Spur Daddy, a Gamecock fan, saying that they should have the Old Spice Armpit Bowl played at Williams-Brice Stadium. JD says the Old Spice Armpit Bowl is a good one. Could rotate with the Charmin Butthole Bowl in Clemson.
Can you say that on the radio? We just did.
Well, we did, and Jim Rome has an entire montage of people saying that on his show, so I think you can say it.
Hey, speaking of which, Diesel, this is totally unrelated, by the way, and I say totally unrelated, wink, wink. I have on Netflix last night.
If you're talking about a beehole, I don't think I want to hear about it.
I have on Netflix last night. They had that little red tab that says recently added, and I clicked on the show, and it was Wanted, Dead or Alive, the search for missing people. And I click play, and it's a 4-episode miniseries, Diesel. And where is it filmed? Every episode. Columbia, South Carolina. I make no distinction about anything anyone just said. Other than that, I'm now watching a 4-episode docu-series, Wanted, Dead or Alive. The table is set in Columbia, South Carolina. Diesel, I expected to hear our show during some of these searches because our #1 market for downloads is where? Columbia, South Carolina. Texter says, watching the YouTube stream. Looking good, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. I worked very, very hard on this lack of appearance today. Texter says, switch the 2-11 and you have Beamer's record next season. So says Bobby. So not 11-2, but 2-11. Bobby, look at the schedule, my friend. They've got 4 baked-in wins.
When is this nightmare going to end?
There's a better chance of me spontaneously combusting than year 4 under Beamer popping. It's not happening. Texter says the best the Gamecocks will finish next year is 7-5. I see 5-7 or 4-8 with the schedule. So says Spur Daddy. What are your thoughts on whether Beamer will be worse next year than this year?
This friggin' Beamer.
Guys, like the new year is a time for optimism. It's whether he'll be worse. It's interesting how you phrase that. Not whether he'll be better, whether he'll be worse.
The hard part about playing in the SEC, man, you could have a better team. You could be now you'll be a more experienced coach. You can hire a better staff around you and finish with the same record or worse.
Diesel, much was made over the group of 5 largely just getting destroyed by the Power 5 in the bowl season this year. And I'm scrolling through some of these games, and I'm looking for them. UCLA 35, middle of the pack, Pac-12 school, Mountain West champion 22. Okay. Then what do we have? Oh, not this one. South Florida 45, Syracuse 0. Not that one. Georgia 30, UCF 17. A shell of the Duke Blue Devils 17, Troy 10. What else do we have here? We've got...
Well, Troy lost their head coach.
Minnesota 30, 5-7 Minnesota 30, Bowling Green 24, Kansas 49.
Worst
UNLV
color combo
36.
in all of college football, Bowling Green State. Most people don't remember it as Bowling Green State. They are brown and orange. It's
and your upset pick, Tulane over Virginia Tech. They became too lame in that game. The group of 5, SMU 14, Boston College 23. SMU was 11-2.
Yeah, and people really wanted them in over Liberty, who made it to a New Year's Six game and got absolutely demolished by Oregon. Anybody who made that bowl was going to get demolished by Oregon.
So, yeah, the group of 5 got waxed. And, Diesel, this is, to me, concerning. Okay, this is concerning. If I look at, I've got this amazing graphic in front of me right now, and it's group of 5 versus Power 5. And it shows you parity in college football, or lack thereof, all right? Now, if we look at all time, since the history of college football, right? Group of 5 versus Power 5 conference teams, the group of 5 has won 22%.
Okay.
The last 20 years, the group of 5 has won 19%. The last 10 years, the group of 5 has won 18%. And the last 5 years, the group of 5 has won 16%. This used to be, like 5 wins out of 20.
Yeah.
It has become 3 wins out of 20.
I can't speak for the rest of college football, but the Sun Belt's been doing its part.
Well, you guys have kept divisions, as I saw you tweet today.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're the only one that kept divisions.
No,
we like divisions.
Old Dominion, they've beaten up on Virginia Tech a couple of times. James Madison has Power 5 wins. App State has Power 5 wins. Georgia Southern beat Nebraska, and you can't lose to Georgia Southern because they're not App State. So I think the Sun Belt has done a fairly good job keeping up.
Oh, they have. They have, and I mean that's something to be proud of. But if I were to say to you, Diesel, all-time 22% winning percentage,
I would say that sounds about right.
Keep in mind that number keeps going down because all-time incorporates the present. That maybe that all-time number was 24%. I don't know.
Sure.
Maybe it was 1 out of 4. The 5-year win percentage is 16%. Why? What's going on? Why is the group of 5 less competitive now than they've been?
I would look at the transfer portal as one example of why the best players from the group of 5 are leaving to go to the Power 5. There's always going to be the best coaches at the group of 5 level move up. That's always going to be the case. So it's not like that has changed over the past 5 years as compared to 10, 15, 20 years. But, I would say all time 20, would you say 24%, 22%? I'd say that sounds about right. Winning 1 out of 5, 1 out of 4 against Power 5 opponents. That's talking about Alabama playing North Texas and it's Indiana playing Bowling Green. I would say 1 out of 5 is probably about right.
But Diesel, it's not that so much as the trend that is bothering me. You know, it's the trend. It's that they're getting fewer and further between.
Well,
right?
yeah.
I mean, that's what's bothering me, is that, like, one of the things we love about college football is that any given Saturday, you can have UNLV taking out in Oklahoma, right? Like you can have that, you can enjoy that. And it's happening with decreasing frequency. Tiger Pal Rachel tweets in, Mark, I think we need an F you all the time bowl. The t-shirts would be awesome. Rachel, do you not feel that the Gamecocks have bent me over enough? Why do we need to go that way, Rachel? Why are you doing this to me, Rachel? Okay. I have received enough prostate exams for the rest of my life by one fan base and one fan base alone. Thank you, Rachel. It's always good to hear from you, my friend. By the way, Rachel, hope to see you out at some live shows this year, and hope 2024 is a fantastic year for you. Fantastic year for you. F you all the time bowl. You're right. Remember, Bourbon Street. I said any New Orleans team should be named the Bourbon Street Flash. Think of what you could do with shirts and like side boob and like, think of what you could do marketing wise. We remember the Big Johnson shirts when we were kids, right? And like how all of the play on words, think of what you could do with the Bourbon Street Flash, being on t-shirts would be fantastic. All right, my friends, coming up next on the show, if the upset is to happen on Monday night, here's how it will. That, my friends, is next. And this is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere that we are grateful to have you with us on. We're at Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel, the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Fantastic to have you guys with us. Thank you very much for the kind words. Rachel, Happy New Year to you as well. P1 listener Rachel. Let's see here. 71307 on the text line is where you guys can get to us on the show. We've got Heisman Trophy voter Brent Beard joining us in the next segment, previewing the national championship game. So I want to ask you this question. Okay. I want you to be thinking about something, because at 4:20, we're going to have some fun with this, okay? What do you do surrounding sports? Any behaviors you have in life or in sports that it's just like an admission that you are kind of crazy, okay? Kind of crazy. Maybe it's around sports. Maybe it's a sports superstition. Maybe it isn't. But things like stopping the gas pump on the exact dollar amount every time. Things like being so worried about germs that you use barbecue tongs to put dirty clothes in the laundry, in the wash machine. You don't want to touch them. I'm kind of like that. I'll be honest with you. Like when I do loads of laundry in our home, there's all these adjustments that you go through, Diesel, as somebody who's a dad for the first time. When I'm putting laundry in the wash machine, the article of clothing that troubles me the most is Jackson's underwear, okay? Because he's sliding around in the mud. Is
that a euphemism?
Right. But see what I'm saying? Like it's just, I'm not used to that. I'm not used to having I'm not used to having to grab undergarments and put them in the wash machine. And it's troubling for me. I'm like, can I like group my wife's shirts and grab Jackson's undergarments with my wife's shirts? Am I able to do that so I don't have to touch it?
Are you willing to grab her undergarments with your bare hand without thinking about it?
No question about it.
Okay.
No question about it. Actually, Diesel, I actually kind of enjoy that. But the other one, not so much. The other one, not so much. So anyway,
it's only going to get worse. Trust me.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Something to look forward to. So anyway, I want you guys to think about the areas, the behaviors that you have that is proof positive that we're all a little bit crazy. Okay. We all do crazy things. I have one that is so nutty that I'm sure Diesel has seen me do. Okay. I think one time when I did it, Diesel asked me if I was feeling all right. Okay. Like we all have that little bit of crazy. Sometimes it's around sports, right? So at 4:20 p.m., that is 32 minutes from right now, we'll ask you guys, but not before, what are the examples in which you are crazy? Okay. Admit it. You're crazy. We're all crazy a little bit. I don't know the why behind that. Okay. Guys, one thing that I've learned of the many things I've learned from our buddy Josh Pate is the following. Okay. When there's a game like this one on Monday night, Michigan against Washington, there is a clear favorite in this game. As a matter of fact, the analytics groups are saying it's going to be a bigger margin of victory than the betting line. Okay, ESPN's Football Power Index basically says it's a 3-1, 74.3% chance Michigan wins, 25.7% chance Washington wins. Michigan is a 4.5-point favorite in this game. According to different models, Bill Connolly's model has Michigan by 11 points, 11.5 points. Kelly Ford says 9.5 points. Where is Mark Ryan's model? Well, my model, my beautiful Angela, is still at work, but my score is Michigan 31, Washington 20. That is my score, and I'll have you know that my college football playoff predictions were as on point as they get. So, we ask you guys this question. If the upset is to happen on Monday night, how does it happen? We will read the best responses that we get on the air. 71307. Just start your text with the word fan and away you go. If we are elated at talking about a team in purple that won a national championship that was neither Clemson nor Furman, well, with Clemson, it's regalia. I get it. If we're talking about that team on Tuesday, how did they do it? What did they achieve? 844-326-3663 is the number. The text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go on the show.
Roger Carper on the YouTube chat says, Mark, the Sox are probably safe for now, but stay away from them after a few more years. That's gross, Roger. That's disgusting.
Oh, Roger, I see what you did there. He calls himself dead sexy. There's nothing dead sexy about that. The Sox are probably safe for now. Oh,
that's just downright disgusting.
Come on, Roger. Come on. Please, Roger. This is a family show, and I say that after I said probably 3 or 4 different R-rated things in the first hour of the show here today. If the upset is to happen, how is it going to happen, Diesel? Here is my explanation. Washington's going to have to score 30, first digit 3, because I think Michigan is going to score 30 on them. And that is the biggest challenge, in my opinion, that they face in this game. Unbelievably great defense for Michigan. Number 1 in America. You've got to put up a 30 spot on them to match what Michigan is going to do to you. All right. What else can you do to help a victory? Win the turnover battle. Maybe you get a muff punt touchdown like Alabama got a muff punt touchdown. Maybe you get a special teams touchdown. But if you win the turnover battle and you have a touchdown gift wrapped to you, that's going to help significantly. Then what I need as a Washington fan, and let's be honest, if you are not a Michigan fan in this game, and we've got some great P1 listeners who are, but if you're not a Michigan fan, everybody who doesn't call themselves a Wolverine fan is pulling for Washington in this one. This is the ultimate battle of good versus evil. Triumph over adversity is Washington. Adversity, which prevents you from triumphing, that's Michigan. So I think Washington, they need their offensive line to hold up against a great Michigan defensive line. They need Jalen Kelly, Rome Odunze to be total mismatches, and they need Michael Penix Jr. to have the game of his life. The game of his life. Because if you're asking me what team in college football is the very best at the line of scrimmage, it is the Michigan Wolverines. And an old football wise man once told me that your importance in the game of football is in direct proportion to the distance you line up from the football. i.e., the closer you are to the football when it's snapped, the more important you are. Michigan dominates the line of scrimmage. That's the biggest problem for Alabama when they played them. That'll be the biggest problem for Washington when they played them. Remember, Washington is trying to become the first team in college football history ever to win a national championship while failing to meet the blue chip ratio. Okay? So can they exploit the matchups on the outside? Can they put up 30-plus points? Can Michael Penix Jr. have the game of his life? Can Rome Odunze surpass Marvin Harrison Jr. as the best wide receiver in this draft class? All right? The defense, you didn't hear me mention Washington's defense at all, and that's because I don't expect much from them. Okay? But can you win the turnover battle, Washington defense? Can you create a turnover or two? Can you get a special teams touchdown? You do that, that is how the upset happens. We've got Heisman Trophy voter Brent Beard coming your way next, right here on the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel, and we are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. You have a ton of choices out there. We truly appreciate you making us part of your day. My parody account, My Shoes Smell Like Pine. This guy, Brent Beard, has not entered the transfer portal, he says, but wants more name, image, and likeness from Mark Ryan on air. He can search long and hard, but he will not find any more name, image, and likeness from Mark Ryan on air. We know we can't afford him, but we are thrilled to be able to take advantage of him in the way that we do every single week on this show. He joins us right now. Brent Beard, we have missed you, my friend. It is great to be back with you here in 2024. My last text to you, Brent, I asked you to please give me a call before the new year. No call has come. So I see where I really am on your hierarchy of priorities, sir. How are you?
Well, it will come. I can tell you that. My two daughters have been around, so whether I want to or not, they demand priority. So, and that day's coming for you one day too. So, but it's good to be back.
Happy New Year, my friend.
Happy New Year to you too, brother.
Yes. By the way, Brent, I have no idea if I'm even allowed to say this, but I will say this to you, Diesel, that Candy, Mandy, and Sandy are no longer allowed to visit Brent or I. Okay, so I just want to let you be very aware of that. So we're proud of you, buddy. We want you to have a great 2024, and we're going to kick it off with an awesome interview today. How do you feel?
I think that will be wonderful as we get close to the national championship game, but also knowing that there's so much other stuff to cover. Mark, our listeners sometimes probably forgot this, but listen, this used to be a rather quiet, December was a quiet month. We love the bowl games, but there is so much going on right now to keep up with. It truly is mind-boggling in many, many ways, is it not?
Man, it really, really is. So I'll open with an exercise that we do, Brent, and we got it from Josh Pate. When Josh Pate is analyzing a big game, he asks himself, if the upset were to happen, how does the upset happen? And so I'd like to ask you that question under the pretense that we know that America is rooting for Washington in this one, right? The underdog, what a great story. The more you dig, the better the story gets for Washington. Michigan, the big bad bully, the cheaters, etc. So America's rooting for Washington. How does Washington pull the upset in this one, buddy?
Well, I think it begins and almost ends with the Joe Moore Award offensive line. They have got a tremendous offensive line that I think will protect Penix at quarterback, who is absolutely the real deal in many, many ways. And if they're going to win the game, I think that their offensive line is going to have to get at least, Mark Diesel, a stalemate with that ferocious Michigan defensive line. And I'm just telling you, people didn't see Penix in the semis and what he was able to do against Texas. If he has time, he could really set that Michigan secondary on fire. He is that good. They've got great receivers. And I think the other thing that is in their favor would be the number of close games that they have played. I think they played like 10 games within, 10 points or less. So, I mean, I can make a case for Washington winning the game, frankly. I understand Michigan being favored. I understand all what J.J. McCarthy and Blake Corum and Harbaugh and all that goes along with it. But I think Washington's got a real chance to win the game.
Brent, we hear all the time that if an SEC team is not involved in the national championship, it's not going to be viewed as heavily or as highly all across the country. I'm going to go around the room here and say that I am not going to care less because an SEC team is not in it. Mark, are you going to care less because an SEC team is not in it?
Yes, I'm a homer. Admission is the first step towards recovery.
Brent, let's just disregard his opinion. Brent, are you going to care less about the national championship game because an SEC team is not in it?
Well, I love to see an SEC team in it, but no, I will watch it and keep up with it regardless. I mean, obviously for what I do, which is what you guys do, it's more oriented toward SEC, ACC, but this still should be a very good game. And there's a plus to this game that people may not have heard about yet. But now I've got to double check to see when the actual kickoff is. But this thing starts at 7:30.
Thank
now,
God.
which is a real plus. And by the way, the NCAA basketball championship game can learn from that instead of 9:20 Eastern time. So I'm hoping 7:30. Now, I don't think they kick off then. It'll be a little bit beyond that, but that's much better than 8 or 9 o'clock, is it not?
Big time, buddy. Big time. Brent, I was lamenting the fact watching the college football playoff that, among many of us who romanticize and miss the college football that we grew up with, that over the last 10 years has kind of gone by the wayside. All of the focus and then some has been on the college football playoff, to the point that, you're watching a bowl game, all the conversation from the announcers is not on the game that you're watching. It's on games that haven't been played yet.
Mm-hmm.
And I get to the point on New Year's Day, Brent, where the playoff is starting and it's 5 p.m. and I had a show on Tuesday morning and the game gets over at 1 a.m. something.
Yeah.
And I'm saying to myself, Brent, okay, what have we done to this sport when all we look forward to all year is 8 hours, 5 p.m. to 1 a.m., 8 hours. Are we doing this sport justice when that 8 hours is the only focus anybody has for the entirety of the season?
Well, I do. I hear what you're saying, but I do think the expanded playoff is going to help us by having more teams. Now, I mean, look, I have thought for years that we were so focused on bowl games that we never got around to really creating a champion as we should. And I think I'm not saying the expanded playoff is going to be perfect, but I am saying I think it's going to be a whole lot better than what we've had before. So that I'm glad of. And I'm glad that the emphasis is on the playoff instead of the bowl games. But look, I was very disappointed in games like Georgia and Florida State. That could have been a gargantuan game if Florida State had wanted to, and those players had wanted to stay and be able to play the game. I thought that would have been tremendous in a lot of ways and would have helped Florida State to some degree too. But they did not. But the thing that hits you with that is something's really got to be done. I mean, I've heard everything from play the bowl games in the beginning of the year, and saw one today said, well, don't play the bowl games at all. Well, that's never happening. There's just too much money involved with this. So I like the emphasis on the playoff. It should have been there for, frankly, for decades, but the two can survive. And there are still, I mean, I watched the heck out of that Missouri and Ohio State game. There were still games that I enjoyed. I enjoyed a lot of the minor bowls, frankly. So it's kind of a mixed bag there for me.
Brent, on Wednesday, we brought on Clemson play-by-play announcer Don Munson. I asked him, in what ways will what Florida State is doing affect what Clemson does as it pertains to realignment? Now, he said he wasn't sharing any inside knowledge whatsoever, but he would be shocked if Clemson and Florida State are not sharing notes. So as a resident of Florida, somebody who is physically closer to this and maybe gets some little inside info here and there, what can you tell us about how Florida State's lawsuit against the ACC is progressing and what feeling legal experts might have as to how this might go for them?
Well, I think if folks had a copy of the grant of rights that goes through the 36, they may have a little bit more information about it. But I mean, certainly what we hear is they are continuing pursuing, doing all they can to get out. And what you're hearing now is not only is it Florida State, but there are, I mean, I've seen as many as 6 or 7 schools that would be interested in some point being able to do the same thing. I think they want the Florida State to do the heavy lifting in the beginning and for them to be able to follow suit. So, I mean, it's still going on. Florida State's they have T-shirts now that they've delivered, and But I'm hoping the energy will be spent celebrating winning the ACC and also forwarding ahead of going to another conference. And I mean, logically, I've seen and heard what you guys have, that it's probably going to be the Big Ten. I'm not saying that that it couldn't be the SEC, but that's what we're hearing more than anything else. But that, yes, that they are. And again, there's only so far that you can push the legal system in, as far as you can't really speed that up. But I mean, they are very determined to get out, and that's going to be one of their processes to do it.
Brent, would it not just be easier and a heck of a lot cheaper for the ACC to just raise some money and raise the payouts rather than trying to keep somebody around who doesn't want to be around?
Right.
That you assuage the issues that made them unhappy in the first place.
Yeah. Well, look, I think there's some truth to that, and there's some real logic to that, and that is why that the ACC has brought some teams in, and will continue to look at some other teams if they want to be viable at this point. So, I mean, they're not going to disappear like the Pac-12 has, basically down to 2 teams, however you look at that. But no, your point's a good one. I mean, yes, if you've got several schools who really don't want to be there, and I still think this may happen legally, guys, that they come up with some kind of a compromise to where the league gets a lot of money for letting these teams out, and the teams are able to go free and get on with their lives.
Brent Beard, Heisman Trophy voter, joining us here on Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Brent, we were kicking around some numbers, Group of 5 versus the Power 5. And all time, the Group of 5 has won 22% of its games against the Power 5. But in the last 5 years, that number's 16%. Many bowl game matchups, the Group of 5 only won 2 of them this year. When I ask you the why on that, Brent, you know, when you think back to what we thought of the transfer portal, we initially thought it was going to be, okay, Alabama's third string isn't going to play, so now he's going to go from Alabama maybe to Akron, and maybe it would spread the wealth a little bit more because guys aren't going to be cool being second or third string. Then I thought, Brent, okay, well, if a guy's second or third string and he doesn't have any NIL, why would he want to be third string QB at Alabama getting no NIL when he can be first string QB at Boise State and getting all the NIL? So when you factor in that, why is the winning percentage for the Group of 5 actually going down? Why are we having less parity when some thought maybe the transfer portal would level the playing field a bit?
Yeah, I'm a little puzzled with that too, as we've kind of played around with it. I mean, is that and again, the transfer portal is not that old, obviously, so it's a small sample size. So how much of that is some of their better players moving on to Power 5 schools? How much of that is and some of even the coaches doing the same thing along that line too? I mean, but I mean, I still will say it's fun to see James Madison do what they're doing at 11-1. It's fun to see Troy be 11-2. You mentioned Boise at 8-5, and some of these other schools. But I'm going to be very curious if that number levels off or if it rises a little bit more over the next few years when more of this portal situation settles down.
Brent, who are you seeing, again, this portal getting as out of control as it has been is really only a few years old. Can you look back and think of a team or two that, has just unfortunately been labeled a perpetual feeder school? We talked about it yesterday a little bit. I'd love to get some names from you. Schools that the door travels outwards a lot more than it travels inwards.
Brent, if you say Florida, we're no longer friends. So please choose your words very, very carefully here, okay?
Look, your Gators have actually. I know they've lost an offensive lineman, but your Gators have actually gained a few guys over the last few days that I think has been helpful. I mean, I know Tulane has lost some guys. UTSA the same, and I mean UTSA's had Russians and quarterbacks and so forth who are, I think, have been quite impressive. UAB's lost a few. I think that's hurt them too. And looking down, South Alabama has. So I don't know that I like the non-Power 5 schools. We keep up with them on a regular basis, and I hope somewhere they're going to get their due. But guys, it probably is not going to happen. Let's be realistic about this until we really get into what tier 1, tier 2, or whatever they're going to call this, as far as looking toward the future. And obviously we've said for years, we're going to have 50 to 65, basically Division I schools that are going to form their situation, and the rest of them do the same. So your non-Power 5 can have their own playoff instead of getting basically one, maybe two in the 12-team playoff.
Brent, are you a New Year's resolution guy? Do you know, Brent, that only 9% of people achieve their New Year's resolutions?
Yeah, I believe that. I'm almost surprised it's that high.
Okay. So no New Year's resolution for you this year, sir?
No, not really. I mean, I'm in the gym every day, and I'm trying to eat. My big thing is not sugar. My big thing is bread. I mean, listen. If you put me in front of a ball game and gave me a loaf of bread, I could probably eat it. I could probably eat the whole loaf if I wanted to by the time the game's over. So, those are probably I went to my endocrinologist for my annual. This is too much information here, but to make the point, and I'm trying to keep my A1C a little lower, and so if I've got a resolution, it would probably be something like that.
So bread is to Brent Beard what cheese is to Pepe Le Pew. Okay.
Yeah.
We got that. We got that down. Good luck on that, my friend. Good luck on that. We appreciate you. We want 2024 to be the very best year of your life, my friend. Thank you so much for all you do for us and for joining us. Listeners of this show, Brent, they know we've got a lot of football season guests, but they love you the most, and that's because you're with us every week of the year, and we love you for that. Have a great 2024.
It's appreciated, and I can tell you there's something going on all the time, and there'll never be anything that there'll never be a week where we won't have something to talk about.
Can't wait. Have a great weekend, my friend.
You too, guys. Take care.
Take care. Brent Beard up next on the show. Admit it. You crazy. And you crazy. And you crazy. You're all crazy. Next, here on Offsides, the Fan Upstate. It's Offsides. Mark, Ryan, and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate. Happy Friday, one and all. Great to have you guys with us. Thrilled to be here with you on a Friday edition of the show. So, guys, I wanted to have some fun in this segment with you. All right? Because the reality is we're all nerdy in a certain way. You know, like we hide it before the age of 30. And then when you hit the age of 30, becoming a nerd becomes kind of cool. You know, like women around that age stop viewing that as a negative thing, and they start associating nerdiness with success and smarts and income and all of these other things, right? So we're all nerds to a degree, but we're also a wee bit crazy. Okay, we're also a little cray. And I want to ask you guys right now, okay, to not be worried about being made fun of, because we're not going to do that to you. Okay, I want you guys to, have just take a dose of truth serum and tell us those areas in your life where you are a little crazy. Are they related to sports? Are they not related to sports? I'm talking about small obsessions and irrational behavior, including stopping the gas pump on the exact dollar amount every time, fear of germs that are so great that you use things like barbecue tongs to put dirty clothes in the laundry. You obsess maybe over two-way light switches. It doesn't matter if they're in the on position or off position, but you insist each of them are in the off position at all times, but you can't rest until both are in the off position. Who has the other light switch on? In what ways in your life are you a little bit crazy? Crazy. Because we all have those things, right? 844-326-3663 is the number, and the text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, in away you go. First text that comes in, crazy about sex. That's a way in which he's crazy. In what way, sir, are you crazy about sex? We need you to elaborate on that, please. Okay? That would be fantastic.
I think he's trying to say he only has sex with crazy women.
Oh, okay. Very interesting.
In which case, that's probably a good decision because it's going to be pretty good.
I saw a video, Diesel, of a Michigan fan in the Alabama game who would not move an inch, a centimeter. And I started thinking about this, and I was like, this is nuts what this guy's doing. Like, he will not move. His family is screwing with him, trying to get him to move, and this dude will not move because he's convinced that his action, his inaction, him being an absolute statue is going to help Michigan win the game. Now, maybe your crazy has to do with sports, and maybe your crazy doesn't have to do with sports, but we're all crazy in some way, shape, or form. And I can illustrate this to you by saying the following. I do a stupid behavior that makes no sense whatsoever. And Jackson has asked me to stop doing it. And Angela tells me whenever I do this, it is very, very, very noticeable. Okay? And I don't know why. I don't know why. Like, whenever I have whenever I have to turn in a direction, I go out of my way to turn to the left. I go out of my way to do it. I got to turn the chair around. I turn the chair to the left. I got to turn around to go out of here. I turn around to the left. Why? Because for some reason, I'm convinced that good luck will happen to me if I turn left. Crazy. Yeah. Remember Britney Spears? Can you hit me with that one more time, Diesel? Oh, wait, what? That's not the whole one, is it? What's the whole one? It goes da 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 da. Crazy. Do you still have the whole one, or did you shorten it? Oh, I like the whole one. Oh, you cut out half of it. Okay. It is kind of crazy. And it is crazy. And I'm crazy. And so, like, people see me behaving in weird ways, and they look at me funny all the time because I'm always turning to the left, because I'm convinced that turns to the right will bring me bad luck. Really? I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Why? Okay. Well, the difference is, Diesel, he actually looks desirable, apparently, to some of the opposite sex. I very much do not. Yeah, yeah. I can, like, guys, I turn left. Everything is left. That is my lucky direction. And so, it's not like if I have to turn right, if like someone's behind me and I can't look like an idiot, any chance I get, I will turn to the left.
That's asinine and silly. Asinine, silly, and stupid.
And it is. And it doesn't make any, and I admit this. But in the weird recesses of my brain, I'm convinced that it matters. I'm convinced that it makes a difference. Diesel, are you crazy in any way in your life that has to do with life or sports or any of the above? I'm watching this Michigan fan, and I feel so bad for him because at least my obsession, Diesel, or compulsion allows me to move, but I just got to move a certain way. He is frozen.
I used to very much believe that, what clothes that I wore on game day mattered. Like, you had to make sure that one specific t-shirt was clean on game day every time. I still make sure I wear something App State on game day. Any football or basketball game day, I try to wear something. But I don't go for that one specific item. Like, once you get past a certain age, you realize what I do has no effect. Jinxing is not a thing, and so like this is how we like to insert ourselves into the team. Like we pretend like we're on the team because if I don't eat the same meal on game day every week, then the team is not going to play well. They don't know who you are. They don't care what you ate for lunch yesterday. It's not going to matter. I have a few little things like I have to stop the gas pump on a certain hard number every time, like $20, $10, whatever it may be. But I have to do that for a specific reason because my Jeep, this is a known problem with my year Jeep, that little, whatever that thing that backs up and stops the pump whenever your gas tank is full, doesn't do it on my Jeep. Like it will spray right out the side of the gas tank. And I've looked it up. There is no fix for this. They don't know. They know that it's a problem, but they never came up with a fix because they moved on to a different model the next year after my Jeep. So there is no fix for that. So I have to do it. But I've since taken to actually trying to screw with people with it. So instead of putting in $20, I'll put $19.99 in just to screw with the next person who comes up to that pump. It's like, why the hell wouldn't they just go to $20? Like I do it just to mess with people a little bit. Though I will say that I refuse to wear the rival team's color underwear on the day that we play them.
Oh.
You fold them up, and pop them in the drawer. You never know which one you're going to take out. So, for example, anytime I've got a pair of teal underwear, I'm never wearing the teal underwear on a day that we play Coastal Carolina. Not going to happen. I've got some dark blue underwear. Not wearing that on a day that we play Georgia Southern. Not doing it.
Well, Ashley told me she was really looking forward to seeing you in purple underwear, Diesel.
Well, she likes it when I don't wear any.
Oh, no. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, no. Okay, so I want to hear her say that, by the way. I don't believe that that's accurate in any way, shape, or I don't believe that at all. So, guys, Diesel is aware of something about me. I'm not going to share this on the air, but he's aware of something about me that I was kind of going through in October, November, December. And then it ended up not happening. And it ended up not happening right before Christmas. And what I was told, Diesel, is that all of the turns and the left switch, left hand, this and that, like Jackson's like, will you please stop doing that? Like Jackson, a 6-year-old, he's like, why are you doing this? Why are you? He goes, it doesn't make sense for you to turn this way. I was convinced it was going to make a difference. And guess what, Diesel? It didn't make a damn difference. So now I should be free to break free from those chains of just doing everything dumb to the left because it didn't work. It didn't work. All right. Mark is the NASCAR of upstate radio. I just turned left. That's absolutely right. Let's see what you guys say. John. Texter says, John Dog says, I can't stand clutter. But what do you do that's a little bit crazy about that, John? Are you just like, what about Bob, obsessed with cleaning clutter? Texter says, the little screws on light switches have to be vertical. Oh, no. Oh, no.
That's not a bad one, Texter. I don't think that one's all that weird. Vertical, horizontal, whichever direction you pick. Just make sure they're all facing the same way.
Yeah. Oh, that would screw with
You
me.
can't have one doing a forward slash and the other one being vertical or sideways. They got to be going the same direction.
Now, let me ask you this, Texter. What happens if they're not vertical? Like if I wanted to screw with you, I could go in your house with a little screwdriver and mess them all up?
Are you willing to have a screw be loose so that it can be vertical? Because, you know, those little plates are fragile. If you tighten the screw too much, you might crack the plate. So are you willing to loosen the screw, you know, a quarter of a turn or half a turn or whatever to get it back to vertical? And at which point, if you say yes, you've got a screw loose.
That's right. Well, he does have a screw loose. I can confirm that. Yeah, he probably has a few. Why do I have the immediate and irresistible compulsion to inspect the Q-tip after cleaning my ears? Every day for 30 plus years, it never changes. No idea what I'm expecting to see or why I have a slight feeling of disappointment that there's never anything there. So says Jaybird. Like I don't there, Jay, trust me when I tell you there's stuff there. Okay? There is stuff there. There is stuff there, Jay. I promise you. Texter says, Mark, if the light switch screws are not completely and perfectly vertical, I will change them every time. You are crazy, sir. You are crazy. Would you cut that out? Da-da-da-da-da-da. Crazy. Anyway, guys, listen, don't feel like you got to like be this man. Okay. You got to be a man and I'm not allowed to do this because that's showing weakness. I want to know where you're cray. Let's get to Bama Springer, who's up next on the show. Okay, Bama, what did you do when Alabama was playing Michigan? What are your behaviors in life in or around sports that is proof that you should admit that you are just crazy, sir?
Well, with college football in Bama, I'm pretty calm, Mark. Really calm. I mean, more so than I used to be. But when I go offshore, saltwater, deep sea fishing, and I was born and raised down there, and half the people in that building know that, especially Diesel. He's just going to relate big time to what I'm going to tell you. For years, as we headed offshore, we got a live bait well full of live bait, okay? And when we get into where we're going to get, the first thing Springer has to do, and he's been doing it for years, reaching that live bait well and get one of those pilchards out, fine piece of fishery, about 6 inches long. You know what I'm talking about, Diesel. And I just, gosh dang, bite his head off live and just ka-chewy his head and throw the daggum body out there and give the fishing gods a good woo. And I've been doing it for 100 years, and I know a hygiene guy like you are freaking out right now, and Diesel's probably laughing, okay? And that's a fact, man. I've done it. I've done it. I'm 60 years old, Mark, and
so
I've done that all my life.
What is?
Springer, I don't even like biting a little tip off of a piece of soft plastic bait, even when it's
You're a weak.
fresh out of the pack. I don't like doing that. What you do is downright disgusting.
Well, it's disgusting, but it's crazy, but it's worked. I mean, every time.
Well, wait a minute. So are these?
Look, we've never come home without fish in the by God cooler, my boys. Okay, I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Are these now, Bama Springer? Are these live minnows? Is that what you're doing?
Yes, they're pilchards. They look like a shad, but they're much bigger, Mark, about the size of your hand. And I know you got big hands because I shook your hand one time.
Thank you,
guys
sir.
with big hands knows who's got big hands. But
That's
anyway,
absolutely right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I do. Donald Trump does not. It's a crazy thing.
Exactly. Whatever. But anyway, and it lives in the Gulf and it eats small plankton and stuff, and it's the best bait in the world if you're going to use live bait. And we keep them live. We catch them in a net. We cast our own net, catch our bait, and we keep them in the live well. So when we get where we're going, it's time to wake up the fishing gods, and that's how I've done it.
Why the hell do they need to?
Time.
Why the hell do they need to bite your line when you got heads floating around in the bottom of the pool?
Because I don't know, Mark. It's a dumb fish. Okay.
Oh, I am so disturbed by this, Bama Springer.
I know you would be.
I am so disturbed. If you want to get a kick out of this, rewind, open your YouTube, Bama, and look at my face during this call. You will get a
Well-
kick out of what my face looked like during this phone call. Okay.
I don't have to because I've met you. I met you personally, and I've begun to kind of know and understand you a little bit, listening to you every damn day, damn near it. And I'm like going, I bet this is gonna freak him out. He's gonna go home and use scope, and when he gets home.
Yep, I am. Where is the scope
Hey.
now when you need it?
Hey, I love Brent Beard, man. He's the greatest. And let me tell you, I'm hoping Michigan stomps a mud hole in the Huskies. That's all I got to say about that.
Oh, you want to lose to the
Why?
national champion?
Hey, dude, they beat us up. They just beat us up down the field, and I want them to. I know they cheated, whatever, but hey, them boys play hard football. I like physical football, and I think that's what it's going to take, and I think they can do it.
There you go, Bama Springer. Great stuff.
When we come back, Mark, we're going to talk about something. We talk about the financial inequities in college football all the time, right? We talk about the media payouts and how they're just massive for the Big Ten and the SEC, and then there's a big drop-off to the ACC and to the Big 12. Well, people don't think about what game day revenue is for the biggest schools and the biggest earning programs in college football. We're going to talk about that next, the numbers that might blow you away, just how much money some of these schools are pulling in each and every Saturday when they It's Offsides, Mark Ryan and Diesel. We talk about the inequities financially in college football all the time, and the teams and the conferences that make the most money are making the most money because, well, they generate the most revenue. That's how it works. You generate the revenue for the sport, you get the money back on the back end with your broadcast payouts and everything else that comes with having a high profile, Mark. So this graphic came out and it blew me away when you start thinking just how much money college stadiums across the country are making on game day.
So let's ask our audience this question to start. How much do you think, right? How much do you think Clemson makes on a typical game day, or South Carolina makes? So like the Gamecocks have a football game. What's the intake from the gate at Williams-Brice Stadium?
This graphic here for the fiscal year 2022, it's ticket revenue, stadium concessions, parking, programs, novelty sales. That would be T-shirts and pom-poms and streamers and things like that. So I don't know how they get the money. I don't know how whoever put this graphic together got these figures. But we're just going to assume that these figures are accurate. How much would you guess Clemson rakes in on its Saturday game day? How much do you think South Carolina rakes in on a Saturday game day? There's a couple of schools out there, Mark, that according to their reported revenue, this is really scary how these programs can even stay afloat.
Okay, I'm going to guess.
The lowest generating teams in the country, there are 2 of them that, according to this graphic, generate less than $100,000 per game.
I'm going to say that Clemson brings in $2 million per home game, and South Carolina brings in $20 per home game. They're one. I'm just kidding. They're one of the 2. No, I think they both probably rake it in. $2 million, Clemson.
Yeah, which schools do you think? There's 2 of them in America that, according to this graphic, make less than $1 million per game day. Which 2 schools would you guess? FBS schools.
Akron.
Wow. Seriously? Yeah, Akron's one of them.
Yeah, because Akron is the picture of nothingness to me. Akron is always the pancake team that I think of, okay? Oh, man, today's my day to win the lottery. Oh, gosh. It's nowhere in the South. It's somewhere where it's cold to watch bad football. Bowling Green.
Bowling Green, according to this, Bowling Green makes $100,000 per game day.
Oh.
They're not the second one that makes less than that. The other one is Kent State.
Oh.
Kent State Flash, is that right?
Yeah.
The Kent State Flash, they make less than $100,000 a game day. Now the MAC is pretty bereft. There's Ohio, Buffalo, Eastern Michigan, Bowling Green, Central Michigan, Ball State, Northern Illinois, Miami of Ohio, Akron, and Kent State all report less than $100,000 per game day. The highest earning teams in that conference are Western Michigan and Toledo, that both claim $200,000 per game. Let's look to the text line here. 71307. I'm going to give you another minute or so to get your guesses in as to how much Clemson and South Carolina each rake in on a college game day. I can say that my school, App State, is the highest earning school in the Sun Belt, making, according to this graphic, $800,000 per game day. Still not a lot of money when you're talking about 35,000 people, ticket sales, concessions, parking, programs, all of the above. You got Boise State making the most in the Mountain West. They're bringing in $1.1 million. South Florida is the highest earning team in the AAC, making $1 million a year, per game day. When you go up to the Big 12, Iowa State makes the most there, $3.2 million. The highest earning school in the ACC is Clemson. You said what, 2.5?
Yeah.
They make $5 million.
Wow.
$5 million per game.
Wow.
Makes 2.5. NC State, 2.25. Florida State, 2.25. North Carolina, $2 million per game day. This is when it goes up from there. And this is another reason why some of these schools have a problem with how much money they're getting in their conference distribution.
But in fairness, this has nothing to do with their TV deal. This is their game day operation.
Yes, this is game day operation. You have to remember, all of these schools, they have expenses as well. They have to turn the lights on. They have to pay the concessions crews, the thousands of people who are working in the stadium every single game day. So this is not all profit. This is revenue. When you get into the SEC, Mark, the lowest earning SEC school,
Vanderbilt.
Missouri.
What?
According to this, Missouri. Now, Vanderbilt doesn't have to report because they're a private school. So Vanderbilt may be the lowest earning school in the SEC, but they're a private school, so they don't have to report that. Missouri earns $1.5 million. South Carolina raking in $2.8 million per game.
Where does that rank among SEC schools?
Among SEC schools, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
Yeah, that needs to be better.
Among SEC schools. Now, this includes the 2 new schools, Texas and Oklahoma, even though in 2022 they were not in the SEC. So they're including them as if they were in the SEC. So Texas is leading the way at $7.8 million every single game day.
These wealthy Longhorn fans.
So you do the math there. You get 6 home games. They're raking in just shy of $50 million a year just in game day revenue. just in game day revenue.
You would keep your revenues private too if they were as low as Vanderbilt's, okay?
Yeah, Texas A&M $6.5 million.
A game.
Oklahoma
Wow.
2, Georgia 6, Florida is at $5.3 million per game day. So Florida's still making more money on game day than Clemson.
So, ladies and gentlemen, as if you already didn't have enough to be depressed about, given the seasons Clemson and South Carolina just had, now know this. Unless I'm speaking to the very most wealthy offside listeners right now, in one single game day, Death Valley, Williams-Brice Stadium, take in more than you and I will make in our entire lives.
Well, here's where this gets really, really interesting. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 SEC programs that make more than Clemson does every game day. More than half of the SEC makes more money every
Why is that?
than Clemson. That starts with Arkansas, Florida, Alabama, LSU, Georgia, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Texas. All make more than $5 million per game in revenue. When you look at the Big Ten, you've got 1, 2, 3, you got 4 schools that are making as much or more: Nebraska, Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State. Ohio State is the second highest revenue earning school in college football per game day revenue at $7.7 million per game day. Michigan earns 7.2, Penn State 6.9, Nebraska $5 million per game day. So, when you talk about the discrepancy of $25 million a year in television revenue between the SEC and the ACC, and then you start talking about game day revenue being an additional $3 or $4 million per game day, that's when the financials really start making sense for a school like Clemson to say, I want out, or for Florida State to say, I want out. Florida State would be damn near last in the SEC in game day revenue. Only Vanderbilt, Missouri, and Mississippi State would earn less per game day than Florida State does.
And so that begs the question, Clemson fans, what is the excuse for that? Why are you not leading your school to as much money as SEC schools are?
Texter here believes that it's because some of those schools sell beer in their stadiums when Clemson does not.
That is it. Ding.
Well, could be it.
That's it. But what's Florida State's excuse?
Yeah.
Right?
Does Florida State sell beer in their stadium?
You had to drink beer at Florida State the last 10 years just to get through a football game there, Diesel. Right. That's exactly right. We've got the top 5 at 5 coming your way next here on Offsides. We are the Fan Upstate. What's good, my friends? This is the most interactive sports talk show anywhere. It's Offsides. Mark Ryan and Diesel. We are the Fan Upstate, rolling on until 7 o'clock p.m. today. Wishing you and your family the best years of your life here in 2024. Thank you guys, as always, for making us part of your day, man. A real honor to be able to be here with you guys.
I just realized, Mark, that we almost kind of matched again.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I'm wearing like a sweater, a zip-up sweater that's got sort of a houndstooth black and white pattern to it. You're wearing a long-sleeve button-down shirt that has got basically a black and white checkered pattern to it. A little bit of blue in there as well.
Cut it out, will you?
So in a way, we're kind of wearing a similar outfit again.
It especially looks like that on the YouTube feed.
Yeah.
YouTube, just go to your YouTube on your phone and type in the Fan Upstate. Click the little live button and you'll see Diesel and I in all of our glory right here on the Fan Upstate. Wonderful to have you guys with us. We've got Wise Guys Wisdom, where Diesel and I picked the 6 biggest games of the weekend, including the national championship game in Wise Guys Wisdom, coming up at 5:40 p.m. this afternoon. But, my friends, it is time for us to do that jam. We call it the Top 5 at 5. The top 5 biggest sports stories of the day, the top 5 topics we're discussing. Ladies and gentlemen of the upstate, Offsiders, the Top 5 at 5 starts right now.
And now, the Top 5 at 5.
And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Hit it!
Desperate times cause desperate people to do desperate things.
5.
That's absolutely right. Hopefully that is not a description of us, but we will soon see. Guys, I was watching a viral video of a poor Michigan fan during the Alabama game, and he would not move on his couch. Like his family was teasing him, trying to get him to move, pushing him. The dude would not move a centimeter, an inch during the game. Like he was convinced bad things would happen to Michigan if he did. Good things would happen if they didn't. And I want to ask you guys this because we're all crazy, okay? Admit it, you're crazy. We all have crazy beliefs, crazy practices, crazy things we do. Maybe they have to do with sports, maybe they don't. Diesel makes sure that his gas guzzler, that when he's pumping gas, it ends up at $19.99 to annoy the person in front of him. That is the most Diesel thing I've ever heard anybody do. I am this weirdo. Like when I have a choice between left and right, I have to go left. I have to turn left. When I turn right, I feel like bad luck is going to come to me. Doesn't make any sense, right? Doesn't make any sense, only it does to me. And then you're like, okay, screw it. I'm going to turn right. Then you have a bad day. And I'm like, it's happened to me too many times. I'm not willing to do it. So we ask you guys, what are your examples of being crazy? What are some nutty things that you do that there's no real explanation for, but you're going to insist upon doing just that? Yeah. Do both light switches have to be on in the up position? What do you say? Texter says, I would hip check my own grandmother to make sure my back wasn't sitting towards the door at restaurants.
I get it. I get that one, Texter.
Why?
Because you want to be able to see people coming through the door.
Why?
Because what if something threatening happens?
Okay.
You want to be able to see it happening.
Texter says, you guys didn't curse when discussing this, but I'm compelled to notify the FCC anyway. Texter says,
Was that about our underwear comments?
I think so. When I shower, I have to wash myself in the exact same sequence every single time. Remind me to leave, sir, when you get to a certain spot, okay?
But is it a funny sequence or is it a logical sequence? Because if you start from the top down, that's not crazy. That's kind of a normal thing, you know?
Yeah.
You want to wash your hair and then all the soap flows downwards.
And I have to dry off the exact same way every time, too. I've tried to change, and I just can't.
Yeah, if it's like left armpit, right foot, right butt cheek, hair, then it's the other butt cheek. That's a crazy order.
Yeah.
But if it's just like top down, that's not crazy.
I'm kind of the same way, Texter. Don't feel bad. It's very, very OCD. So in what ways do you say, admit it, I am crazy as well? And it just makes no sense whatsoever. Next up.
4.
You know, we continue to have Gamecock fans tell me last year, this year, etc. Well, Mark, if you remember, Dabo Sweeney didn't start off too hot. Well, now we're through year 3 for Shane Beamer. Where was Dabo versus Beamer through year 3? I want to let you know, Beamer's in the ballpark. Through 3 years, including the interim year in which Dabo coached 7 games and went 4-3, I'm counting that as a year here. Dabo was 19-15 with a winning percentage of .559. Through 3 years, Shane Beamer is 20-18 with a winning percentage of .526. Here is the problem for Shane. Year 4 is when Dabo Sweeney, and let me just count this here, okay? I understand, bad radio warning. I'm counting on the air. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 straight years of 10 or more wins. Year 4 began that streak for Dabo Swinney that ended just this year. 9-4 this year for Dabo. To be where Dabo is at the end of this next season, Beamer's got to go 11-2 in 2024. Do you like his chances? Or is Dabo no longer a good comparison for patience for Shane Beamer in Columbia? Dabo went 10-4 in year 4. Beamer has to go 11-2 to be where Dabo is. Is this the year Beamer makes the jump? Next up.
3.
All right, at number 3 on the show today. Guys, the transfer portal theoretically was supposed to somewhat level the playing field. Well, why, you ask? Because the guys that weren't playing, the 4 stars, 5 stars, the 3rd string at Alabama, was supposed to transfer down to the Boise States, where they would start, because they weren't seeing the field at Alabama. And so part of you is thinking to yourself, okay, well, this makes sense, right? This is going to help level the playing field. If you are UAB, Alabama, Birmingham, get ready for those Alabama Crimson Tide players who want to play and are not starting. That's not happening. Why? Because of name, image, and likeness, and because now these guys are just going to the highest bidder. And the highest bidder, Diesel, is never Appalachian State.
True. It's also happening because the other schools at the Power 5 level, they also have roster spots to fill. Yeah. You know, if an Alabama, 3rd string Alabama running back wasn't happy and he wanted to leave, there wasn't a mass exodus off of Arkansas's roster, where now Arkansas needs a high-level running back, where, you know, Baylor needs a high-level running back, where Louisville needs a high-level running back. There weren't as many holes to fill. So now they're just all shuffling off of each other's rosters. You see what I'm saying?
Sure.
You know, there's a lot of schools who need that guy, and a lot of schools because a lot of schools are losing those guys. So then the Alabama guy has somewhere else to go that typically, previously, wouldn't have had a roster spot open for him.
But because of NIL, Diesel, like
sure.
If Florida says, okay, we don't have the money to pay an 8th offensive lineman, and now that guy goes to Ole Miss, we thought it was going to be Florida guy is going to USF or UCF or Florida International so he could start. And because of money, because of name, image, and likeness, it's not filtering through. And I can illustrate that. All-time record, Group of 5 versus Power 5. The Group of 5 has won 22% of the games all time. In the last 20 years, though, that number has been 19%. In the last 10 years, it's been 18%. And in the last 5 years, it's down to 16%.
I don't think those numbers are particularly strikingly low, though, because, I mean, at best, you would say the games would be 50-50, right? Because we're not talking about just the elite Group of 5s versus the crappy Power 5s. We're talking about the elite Power 5s against crappy Group of 5s and all of the above, right? Where there's a lot of these games being played. So, in theory, a really good number for the Group of 5 would be winning 50% of those games. That would be really good.
That's unrealistic.
That's unrealistic to say you're going to win half of the games against essentially a step up in competition with better resources, with better recruiting, with better athletes, et cetera, et cetera. So to me, the ceiling would be 50%. So winning 20%, 25% all time, it's not actually a bad number.
It's not bad, but in the last 20 years, we've gone from 1 out of 4 to 1 out of 6. And so, you know, like we're trying to level the playing field, not distance the playing field. Diesel, you know, I'm forecasting a lot of upset days with you in here if the Group of 5 playoff berth always looks like the Fiesta Bowl of Oregon and Liberty. And there's going to be a lot of folks saying, well, get rid of their berth. And you're going to be in here very upset when they're saying that. And so it's not just about the result and how often they win. It's also how the game looks, right? Like, I was shocked that Oregon Liberty looked the way it did. Like, I thought it might be like 38-23.
No, I wouldn't have thought anywhere close to that. Liberty played a bottom of the barrel schedule this year. I mean, their strength of schedule was awful. Liberty had a phenomenal undefeated regular season, but they had a particularly weak conference slate this year.
But the schedule has no bearing on how good you are, right?
Well, you can be not as good on the overall scale, but still better than the teams in your conference.
Okay. So anyway, guys, Group of 5 winning percentage against the Power 5 has never been lower. What to do about it? Your thoughts welcome. Next up,
2.
Dan Wetzel, had a chance to speak to him the other day. Ross Dellinger had a chance to speak to him last weekend. Spoken to both of these guys in the last week. They have a theory on Jim Harbaugh that is shared by me. Here they go.
This is Harbaugh's last game. If I had to guess, I would guess yes. He's got to have a landing spot. Somebody at the NFL has to say, yes, we want to hire you. I think the Chargers would be ideal. Go link up with Justin Herbert. We'll see what else is available out there. If there is a good landing spot, he would go, but he's got to be invited to go. I would imagine Michigan wants to keep him, but I think the suspension is at least 3 to 6. There is a proposal that was put forward in October about coaches not just being suspended on game day, being suspended all week. And that could make a suspension much more meaningful. My guess is he goes, but I'm just guessing because Jim Harbaugh's got to be the hardest person to predict in college football.
It's my guess as well, Diesel, for this reason. He hired the same agent as Tom Brady. It's an NFL agent. Yee, I believe, is his last name. And that agent, and Tom Brady does what now? Is the minority owner of the Las Vegas Raiders, who has an opening at head coach. Jim Harbaugh is flirting with the NFL. Why? Why would he be constantly flirting with NFL jobs that are beneath the job that he has? Like bottom feeding jobs. Why would Harbaugh want that job? Well, because in the NFL, it's all football. That's all that it is. Harbaugh isn't the kissing the ass type. That's what you got to do in college football.
It's funny. It felt like a year ago we had this conversation and we talked to, help me out with his name, the writer who wrote the book about Jim
John
Harbaugh.
Bacon.
And we all felt somewhat confident that Jim Harbaugh might want to take the job in Carolina. This is before they hired Frank Reich. We all felt like there was a solid chance that it could be Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines in Charlotte. Now, in my mind, Jim Harbaugh wouldn't even field David Tepper's phone call unless the number was just astronomically higher than what anyone else was willing to pay. If the Chargers were willing to give him $10 million a year, Tepper's going to have to come with 18.
Well, I don't think Harbaugh really even cares about the money then.
No, I don't think he cares about the money either.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, the Carolina Panthers are now such an undesirable job that Jim Harbaugh wouldn't even consider them.
And then the other thing, Diesel, is the power that he would want versus the power that Dave Tepper would be willing to yield.
Sure.
Dave Tepper yields nothing. He doesn't even yield his drink.
No,
right?
No, he does yield his drink all
much.
over the back of a Jacksonville Jaguars fan.
Too much.
Now that would be a fun meeting to be a fly on the wall for. These two juggernauts of ego. One guy who wears everything on his sleeve, the other guy who is so enigmatic you can't tell what he's thinking ever. Those two guys going at it in a battle of wills, man, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, I don't think Harbaugh takes the call. I think Bill Belichick would be an awful choice. And the it flavor of the month, Ben Johnson, why would he want to start his coaching career in the dumpster fire that is Carolina?
We had a piece of audio yesterday. We didn't play it, but Rob Gronkowski believes that Bill Belichick is still a hotter coaching name than Ben Johnson. Says Ben Johnson is the flavor of the month, but he has no head coaching experience. And he was talking about Jim Harbaugh as well. Said very little coaching experience in the NFL, and it's been a while since he's been in the NFL. But Belichick still has all this heat and sizzle from his entire career. I think Gronk is wrong here. I think he's still in love with his old coach.
Old coach, games somewhat passing him by on a team that is nowhere close to contending, that needs someone to build it in a progressive way. That is the worst possible fit. And finally,
1.
Michigan versus Washington national championship game. If Washington were to pull the upset, how do they do it? I think they need to get to first digit 3 on the scoreboard in a 2-digit number against Michigan. Obviously, 3 points won't cut it. 2-digit number, first digit 3, because Michigan's going to have a first digit 3 against Washington. That's the huge challenge because Michigan has the number 1 defense in America. In America, number 1 defense for the Michigan Wolverines. And so to me, how do you get to 30 points if you're Washington? Special teams touchdown would help. Winning the turnover battle would help. But basically, you need the Broyles Award-winning offensive line. Best offensive line in college football is the award, to protect Michael Penix Jr. and to keep him upright for the duration of the game, the duration of the contest. Greatest number of points Michigan's given up all year, 24. If that's the number, Michigan is your national champion. And that's what faces Washington. If Washington wins, and believe you me, this is a good versus evil battle. Michigan evil, the big bad bully, the cheaters. Washington don't have the talent. Michael Penix Jr. lost 4 straight seasons to season-ending injuries. Kalen DeBoer is a no-name doing unbelievable things. Washington is America's team in this game, but they're going to have to get to first digit 3 to pull off the upset. How do you think they do it? And those are today's top 5 at 5. Now it's your chance to chime in, which you can do at 844-FAN-PHONE. That's 844-FANFONE. That's 844-326-3663. The text line is there for you. CarPro.com text line is there for you at 71307. Just start your text with the word fan, and away you go. You can get to us on Facebook, on Twitter, and on YouTube at The Fan Upstate on every one. And please like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, and subscribe to us on YouTube. We'd love to have you. And finally, email. You guys can all email the show. Mark Ryan, that is M-A-R-C Ryan, at thefanupstate.com. All the different ways you can get in touch with us here on the most interactive sports radio show anywhere. Well, my friends, wait till you hear the verbal gymnastics that Panthers employees try to dance their way to when asked about Dave Tepper's drink toss. That is next. I'm Mark, he's Diesel. We are the most interactive sports talk show anywhere, and we only are that because of you. Right here on Offsides, we are the Fan Upstate.
Stream, appreciate it again. Fantastic way to close out the week. So much interaction, so much conversation from you guys. We appreciate that. Keep telling your friends, keep sharing the link to watch the YouTube videos. Help us keep this thing growing each and every day.
Y'all have a great weekend, all right? We will look forward to seeing you guys on Monday, National Championship edition of the show. Cannot wait. See you there.